Hey YouTube, Fate Collab is upon us, and that means Saber is available to summon for a limited time. My name is Xlice, and in this video I'll be going over everything you need to know about Saber in a digestible fashion and showcasing her power at E0. Don't forget to like and subscribe to let YouTube know this guide was helpful, and share with those who may need some help with understanding Saber. Let's start off with a full guide on how Saber works. First off, the basics. Saber is our newest installment of Destruction Path characters, sharing the spotlight with both recently released Phynon and recently buffed Blade. She's wind typing and scales normally off of attack and crit stats, with extra synergy from teammate ultimate usage. Her damage is a mixture of AOE, bounce, and blast, relying on a combination of skills and ultimate spam to dish out consistent damage. However, she has an abnormally high 360 energy cost ultimate. So let's see exactly how she manages this massive threshold. So her main gimmick is associated with her tooltip called Core Resonance. When either an ally uses an ultimate or she uses her skill, her core resonance number will go up. At the same time, you'll notice her energy bar has an additional partially filled colorless amount. Increasing core resonance number will also increase that partially filled bar. And once that partially filled bar looks like it can fully fill her energy, she'll get a free action advance and can use an enhanced version of her skill. Doing so will fully restore her ultimate energy and allow her to Excalibur over everything. After each ultimate, her next basic attack will be enhanced to deal AOE damage with a higher multiplier, and also refresh her ability to gain a free action advance for when the next time her core resonance amount can fill her energy. Overall, Saber is Excalibur spammer extraordinaire. She wants as many teammates to ult as much as possible so that she can ult as much as possible, enabling super consistent high AOE bounce damage that can either destroy waves of enemies or deal massive single target damage courtesy of bounce. This different style of gameplay will be utilizing fairly familiar supports, so be prepared to sacrifice your other teams to enable Saber's maximum potential. Let's break down exactly what she does. When you first check her out in combat, the first thing you'll notice is her core resonance number and also her partially filled energy bar. From her talent, she'll start with 1 core resonance, and then any ally who uses an ultimate will grant her up to 60% damage bonus for 2 turns and 3 core resonance. Every point of core resonance is 8 fixed energy unaffected by ERR. So 10 points is 80 flat energy out of 360 total, and that exact amount will be referenced in the colorless portion of your energy bar. She also has 2 additional ways to increase her resonance. Technique provides 2 at the start of battle, and is also a passive ability, which is quite nice. Her skill has a default form which will grant 3 resonance, and then once you have enough resonance, you'll notice that she gets a free action advance no matter where in the turn order she is. This is provided in her A2 trace with something called Mana Burst. She can only maintain 1 stack of this effect, and it will be consumed when her resonance is enough to fully charge her ultimate. It will be refreshed after she uses her enhanced basic attack, which will be available after an ultimate usage. When she's action advanced, her skill now has an enhanced form. Using it will consume all resonance points to fill her energy bar, but also increases this skill multiplier by 14% per stack. So 10 points means an extra 140% damage multiplier. Now, what happens if you were really close to ulting, but your skill consumes like 15 resonance to give you 120 energy? Don't worry. Her A4 trace allows her to overflow her energy up to an extra 120 points. So she can technically hold up to 480 points, and if you're ever curious, her buff tab will tell you exactly how much she's currently overflowing, if any, so you can min-max exactly which abilities to use or not to prevent actually overcapping. Additionally, the A4 trace will also assist on sequential battles by starting her off at 60% energy if she was below that point. With a 360 cap, this means she'll start battle at minimum 216 energy. Her ultimate itself is about 20% true AOE damage and then 80% bounce, so a majority of her damage will not be wasted against trash mobs. After unleashing Excalibur, her next basic attack will be enhanced. During this small window between just after ulting and before basic attacking, she will not have another mana burst available, and therefore cannot be action advanced if you push her resonance too high. So be careful not to spam all your ults during this phase. Unless you're E6, things completely change, because it will not provide her that instant turn like you want. She'll need to first consume that enhanced basic attack to refresh her mana burst, and then she can be action advanced. If you do happen to have enough resonance points, she will be immediately action advanced at this point. Once that's complete, she'll be back to base form and waiting for her resonance to be enough to fully fill her ult again. Alright, so now Now for a bit of nuance when using her kit, because turn count matters a lot for Saber. If you pair her with a unit like Sunday, Saber essentially has access to 2 action advances, one from Sunday and one from herself. With this setup, it is ideal if you delay her resonance just slightly by delaying teammate ults so that she can abuse a 3-turn combo. So what that means is when it's her turn, she always wants to use her skill since it regens base 30 energy and then provides 3 resonance for 24 more, effectively giving her 54 total energy per E. With a 135 speed Saber and a -1 speed tune Sunday, you can do a combo like so. When it's Saber's turn, you'll Saber skill, then you'll action advance with Sunday, which means you Saber skill again, and at this point is when you want to force her energy cap by ult funding or whatever. This will proc mana burst, and Saber naturally will action advance again for her 3rd turn in literally that same sequence. So she'll get 3 turns very quickly, which also generates 162 effective energy from 3 skill usages, which can massively improve her ult uptime. If you have slow Saber and hyperspeed Sunday, just play like normal, but be careful. Do not stack Sunday's action advance with Saber's own. This will be a common thing if you're just reflexively playing, where you're going to E Sunday on Saber and then you're going to ult just because you have it. But unfortunately, if you proc mana burst, you will waste one of those action advances. So you will want to exercise a little bit of restraint so she gets full turn value by enabling 1 Sunday's action advance first for Saber's own turn, and then after her turn is finished, then you pump up her energy and she'll be mana bursted. Both of these playstyles work. If you're doing hyperspeed Sunday, it'll likely be 2 turns on Saber. If you're doing speed tune Saber, then you'll probably go for 3 turns. Also, don't worry about SP usage, even though we're using a lot of skills here. Saber's free action advance mana burst will recover 1 skill point to ensure that she can use her skill to consume that resonance. This is in her A2 trace. Overall, her kit is pretty straightforward besides this turn nuance. This is the one thing you'll need to think about, but once you execute it, it feels really satisfying and her ult uptime is noticeably better. All right, now onto the buffs that she gets along with stat nodes and talent priority. So we got a lot of buffs. Plus 20% crit rate from the A2 trace. A6 trace grants 50 base crit damage and up to 82% more with that core resonance. And then the talent will be 52 to 60% damage bonus from level 8 to level 10 talent. Stat nodes will provide her a 12 crit rate, 22.4 wind damage bonus, and 10% HP. The HP is a little confusing since it could have been attack or crit damage, but it is what it is. Her natural crit rate, by the way, is quite high, so achieving 100% crit rate post buff in battle should be straightforward. All right, for talent priority, ultimate into skill, and then talent basic you invest equally. Ult is going to be her strongest multiplier and will be used quite frequently. Skill is right behind, as it'll be used around 2 to 3 times per ult with the right supports, and when she's mana bursted, it'll have a damage multiplier increase. Talent and basic are both low priority, but she gains value from her enhanced basic attack and also the talent damage bonus, so it's not a technical waste. They're just lower priority. As a hyper carry, investing in everything is ideal, but focus on skill and ultimate first. All right, so now let's talk about her Eidolons and if there's anything crazy going on in the first 2. E1, 60% damage bonus for ultimate and +1 resonance for both her basic and skill. This basically gives her faster ultimate charging and more raw ultimate damage. +1 resonance means that her skill now grants 4, increasing its effective energy from 54 to 62, about a 15% increase. E2, every 1 point of resonance gained in the current battle grants her 1% def ignore up to 15%. Also adds a 7% damage multiplier per point for her skill. Base level 10 skill is 14%, so with E2 it becomes 21% per point. Quite a potent multiplier increase. In general, you're getting more raw damage increase as well as a stronger skill from this. E3 and E5 are general talent upgrades. E4 is res pen. So you'll be getting ramping res pen starting at base 8%, adding 4% per ult, capped at 3 ults for up to 20% total. This is just more raw damage. And then E6, another 20% res pen, overflow energy increased to 200, and a fixed 300 energy refund after every 3rd ultimate. So basically, Saber just gets raw power here. E1 is the only quality of life on energy until E6. E2 to E5 are just damage improvements with talent levels, providing her def ignore and also res pen. E6 is really cool though. Check out this full showcase on my second channel, more Xlice, featuring a top 10 built Saber with premium team if you're interested. Her E6 is actually super fun and transitions her into an Excalibur spamming beast. You will no longer wait for enhanced basic attack here and instead fire multiple ults in succession with massive energy refund, higher overflow energy, and very likely a sustainless full ulting, full action advancing funneling comp. Now let's get into her light cones. So Saber is a stereotypical stereotypical attack scaler that likes crit and enjoys a combo of skill and ultimate damage. She also happens to lack attack percent in her default kit, since none of her extra trace nodes provide it, and her natural buffs are everything except for attack. Her signature provides just that. 36% crit damage and 40 to 80% attack for free. Saber also has above 300 max energy, so every ultimate she uses will refund 10% max energy, which is an additional 36 on top of the base 5. Quite nice. In total, she's gaining 116% stat and 10% ult refund, making this exceptionally strong for her. Other options are any destruction light cones that are proper for an attack scaler. Finon's signature is actually pretty good, and you will probably run a tuned Sunday with it because of the base speed increase, so you can reach 135 pretty easily. The 60 damage bonus is conditional to specifically her enhanced basic attack, and unfortunately will not retroactively buff her ultimate. Fall of an Eon is going to be the default FTP choice, and the healthy attack percent is great for her. And the final 5-star option will be Clara's light cone, 24% attack and a conditional damage percent that may sometimes be active during her big damage phases. For 4-star light cones, we have Bygone Blood for free crit rate and crit damage, and Under the Blue Sky for attack percent. The crit rate from this passive likely won't be that effective since it's awkward to build around, but still potentially useful for a starter build. In general, if you're pulling for Saber, you will probably get her light cone. If not, stick to Fall of an Eon or Clara's light cone. On to Relics. So she's ideally going to be in a team that has a healthy amount of targetable buffs on her. So 4-piece Wave Strider is going to be her best in slot. Alternatively, Scholar is going to be pretty easy to build around, providing crit rate and damage bonus for skill and ults. For 2-piece Planners, we've got 3 different choices depending on what damage source you want to buff. For 135 speed Sabers, Glamoth is great for attack and damage bonus. This assumes a -1 Sunday speed setup. For crit rate and ultimate damage, Inert Salsodo is the way to go. For crit rate, basic attack, and skill damage, Rudolent Arena is a go-to. My advice here is to pick up a 2-piece that you have good substats for. All 3 of these are within about 3% DPS of each other, so just whatever you can make work. Alright, for main stats, she's basically got one core build. Crit damage body, speed or attack boots depending on the tuning, damage or attack orb, and attack rope. She has passive +20 crit rate, and will very likely be paired with Sunday for +20% more, so she's way easier to cap 100% crit rate compared to other characters. Speed or attack boots depends on what type of Sunday you run. Hyper speed Sunday, run attack boots. -1, run speed boots to hit 135. Orb can be attack or damage percent, so she's actually under buffed in attack percent. Prioritize substats here. And finally, for the rope, all of her energy is fixed, so she gains near no value out of ERR. Only option is attack. All right, stat check. So, as much attack as possible, mine is on the lower side, base or 135 speed, and then 60% crit rate if you're paired with Sunday, 80% otherwise. For A2 trace, 20% crit rate will proc in battle, and then crit damage will be as high as you can get. With that, we're all set. You'll probably notice that I don't even have 60% crit rate, and that is because, well, my relics just suck. And yeah, I'm just unlucky, so it is what it is. All right, so team comps. If you have them, we're going to really love both Sunday and Huohuo. These are both the premium ult funnelers, and Huohuo for sustain is the only one we have. Sunday doubles as an action advancer and also has longer duration buffs to keep up with the potential triple turn Saber. Other replacements for Sunday will include Bronya and RMC. While they don't have an ult refunder like Sunday, they still do have action advance that can be tuned around and also have valuable buffs. Unfortunately for Bronya, her ult buff only lasts for 2 turns, so usage of her ult may need to be delayed to ensure uptime for that ult plus EBA combo from Saber. Now for the extra support slot, we have quite a bit of options. Tribby, Robin, Tingyun, Cypher, Ruan Mei, or Silverwolf are all excellent options depending on the situation. Tribby will provide the strongest raw damage increase for Saber with her dual aura buffs that remain on field for 3 of Tribby's turns. And while she doesn't have an energy funneling ult, she does ult very often to compensate. Even if she's not getting many turns herself, those passive procs and consistent energy from A6 Trace enable her to constantly ult. Robin is another soft action advancer with attack heavy buffs that are very valuable for Saber. Massive attack bonus and additional damage bonus and additional crit damage make her a triple threat in terms of buffs. If you can also take advantage of a second action advance on top of Sundays, Robin is an excellent choice. Tingyun will be the go-to forcer support for her trusty ult energy funnel. Combined with her benediction buff for more attack, SP positive playstyle, and high ult uptime, she's going to be a staple for most F2P comps out there. Silverwolf takes a bit of a different approach by being more debuff heavy for Saber. She already has insane ult uptime with her recent buffs, and the AOE Death Shred make for a powerful combo combo with Saber's AOE damage output. Combined with Cypher's Light Cone, if you have it, and Saber can ignore nearly 50% defense by default, while also having weakness implant on enemies that need it. Now for sustains. F2Ps have to rely on Galagoat for the 800th time, no surprise there. And for premium teams, Huohuo is super high value. Another option for premium teams is of course Hyacinth with her Light Cone, granting vulnerability percent on all enemies and having very stable healing. In general, I recommend the following: Saber plus Sunday Tribi Huohuo for highest raw damage potential. Then we have a Sunday Robin Huohuo for infinite Saber turn, ult spam Fiesta. And then we have Saber plus Sunday Robin and Tribi for sustainless raw damage, infinite Saber turn, ult spam Fiesta. And then we have Saber plus either Sunday RMC or Bronya plus Tingyun and Gallagher for my F2Ps out there. Overall, Saber's teams are both restrictive but also flexible at the same time. She ideally wants Sunday and Huohuo for ideal synergistic value, but is willing to settle with a multitude of other supports that provide her action advance, ult funnel, and lots of buffs. And finally, is she recommended to pull? I mean, I'm just gonna be realistic here. She's a Fate collab character and it's Saber. Whether or not she's super meta or whatever is not the reason you'll be pulling for her. She's a classic icon of a classic series, so I think many people are just gonna be interested in grabbing their favorite knight from one of their most memorable anime series. With one of the most iconic voice lines in her ultimate that you can basically hear at will whenever you want, combined with her adorable idol animations, I recommend you pull for her if you just love the character. From my perspective, that's all that matters, especially for unique collab characters that are originally not from the game. She does have a pretty nice kit, but again, she really wants those premium supports, so if you want her to be the best possible, you're going to have to yoink Sunday away from common remembrance characters. All right, let's get into some quick showcases. So I've got two showcases for you guys today, one focused on a full premium team and another proof of concept for an F2P team. All 5 stars are going to be E0 S1, with the exception of Tribi, who is E1 S1, and Bronya, who is E6. We'll talk about that when we get there. All 4 stars are E6, with variation of 4-star S5 light cones. All right, so this first one, we're going with the classic premium team, Saber, plus Sunday, plus Tribi, and Huohuo. This run was done live on stream, so my VTuber is showing up, and I take a bit longer than usual since I'm making sure I make the right choices to gain a 1 cycle clear. All right, so we're starting off with 4 characters here. They all have passive abilities, so we just set them up, and it doesn't matter who we enter battle with. All right, so first things to discuss with you guys. This is important. I prefer a speed tune Saber. So my Saber here is 135 speed, and my Sunday is about -1 or -2. This way, we're doing a triple action Saber, where she's going to go, then she's going to get mana burst, or not, and then she's going to be E-boosted by Sunday. So she's going to get 3 turns in quick succession. Either she's going to go and then get Sunday boosted and then get mana burst, or she's going to go twice and then get boosted. So either way, we're utilizing both action advances from herself and also from Sunday. So here, we're taking a look, making sure that we don't overcap energy. We definitely want to set up Tribi's ult though for that vulnerability percent. All right, so we have skill points here. So we're going to Huohuo E, start stacking up that attack percent. And now it's Saber's turn. She's going to E first, and then this is going to push her into mana per zone, which we do right here. We do not need to Huohuo ult here. Okay, so we get the mana burst here, and then Sunday's going to push up, and I do not want to ult until I get all of these buffs. So I choose right here, I choose to do Sunday's ult instead of Huohuo's ult, because Sunday's ult will not overcap her above the 120 overflow energy, but it will grant her some very, very strong buffs. So I want to make sure that we do this. All right, so after Tribi goes, now we can ultimate with her. And then after we ultimate, it's still going to be her turn. We're going to enhance basic attack. So this is 1.7 million damage, which is great. And then we're enhanced basic attacking. This is her basically triple turn. Okay, so the reason why I Huohuo ult here is because I noticed that my energy is pretty far away. And this is actually a gain because all of my other team members are pretty low energy. This will also grant attack buff for Saber to enhance that enhanced basic. It's not a waste at all. So this is a pretty good timing for that ult. We're trying to maximize damage here. And you'll notice that right now is where we get a little bit fishy, right? So we're going to enhance basic here. And then this leads her to get another mana burst. You notice on the turn order here, this is very important. She is going to mana burst here, but we don't want to ult right away because she's going to get a free turn right before Sunday goes, which allows her to get another E to stack up more core resonance, and then Sunday can buff here. So you can continuously stack up core resonance after you use the mana burst E to fully fill her energy, and this will save for the next rotation. Okay, so I'm just thinking about my actions here. We do E here. Now we can chill and wait. You notice at the bottom left that the tooltip is 16. So this means that I have about 104 104 energy worth before overflow is too much. So that means that I can Tribby here. Tribby will grant another 3 core resonance, and this we're looking good. You notice that the HP of the mobs are fairly low. I want to save my ult for next phase. So we're going to greed as much as possible. As long as we don't overflow the energy too much, we should be good. We'll keep stacking our E. Now we're going to do an E here. Okay, so we're at 80 overflow energy here. Sunday's going to go, and then we're going to E one last time. All right, so we are 120 overflow energy, a little bit overflow, but that's okay. Now we can immediately ultimate here. I did it a little bit late. It would have been nice if I ulted and then got hit there, but it's fine. All right, so 869k. We're not fully buff here, which is totally fine. But this is starting to look good. So we look at the action order. Huo is here. Saber is prepped to go, and we just about have Sunday's ult. So we're going to get another triple action Saber turn, which we really want to optimize here. So first thing is enhanced basic attack. Then Sunday's going to push. Alright, so now that she's action advanced, I think about it. I'm like, can I ult here? I believe I can because it's already her turn. Just making sure. Okay, so I decide to E here. So now that she has mana burst, now I can funnel to Sunday. So because I don't want to overcap too much energy here. Alright, so we proc Sunday ult. We fill her bar, and we get the extra damage on this enhanced E, which has 14 resonance stacks, which is pretty big. Alright, so now we get the big damage here. Taking a little bit long because I am thinking, but it's all good. 135k into the big ultimate, and you'll notice my energy is 110, which is perfect. Not overflow. Sorry, not overcapped. All right, full ultimate here for 798k. He is 18% on HP. We're looking good here. We have another basic turn for Tribby. Okay, so this is what we decided. I'm able to basic here. Tribby is able to ult, but I need to hold Huo ult. Yeah, we need to hold Huo ult here. I do not want to force mana burst here, which would be really risky. Because not only do we get enough core resonance, but we also get ult funnel. Okay, so this is looking very good here. We hold this. Yeah, so I don't want to risk this here. So I go ahead and E. We save the ult here. It is a little bit of energy waste, but the main thing is that I do not want Saber to mana burst here before she gets her own turn, because then we waste a whole action advance. And the enemy still has to go. And if we get targeted by destruction, if we get targeted, we also gain some energy. All right, so there we go. We're looking good. Now we get enhanced basic attack here. And we also notice the boss only has 60% HP. I want to ult on the next cycle. All right, so this is good. Now she gets mana burst. Okay, so now we're going to E. And we're 1%. It's a classic. It would have been really nice for us to get this kill because he would have phased and I would have been able to send the next E here. So unfortunately, now I have to play my turn a little bit differently. If he was phased here, I would E here and immediately ult into EBA. But I don't, so I have to blast attack right here first. So we have to E to force his face, and then we can ult. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. All right, so we do E here, and then now we are ulting. Phase 2. So 1 million damage, so we need about 1 more ultimate here. And then Sunday can push. So here's the thing. You see how close I am right here to getting my second ult. If I cleared the 1% there. If I cleared the 1% HP on the boss and he phased, and I could ult instead of E-ult, if I ulted first and then went to enhanced basic attack, I might have generated enough energy that when Sunday ults me again, I immediately mana burst. Remember that when you're in enhanced basic attack mode, you cannot be mana bursted because the mana burst only refreshes once you enhance basic attack. So this 1% issue might have cost me a really close 0 cycle here, which is quite unfortunate. Yeah, either it was going to be a 0 cycle or the blessing would have taken it. But yeah, now we're just waiting for one last ultimate, and then we're good. So this is optimal play, by the way. I'm just playing it properly here. This is her original turn. She needs to enhance basic attack, and then once she enhances basic attack, she will be on mana burst. So playing properly here, we do enhance basic attack here. And then we mana burst. So I know that I can guarantee the kill here, but I'm basically talking to my chat like, okay, what if this boss wasn't gonna die here, how would I play this out, right? I held the Tribby's ult because Tribby's ulting so much at this point that she's always gonna have her ult uptime. So it's really about when I can do it to make sure that Saber doesn't overcap. Yeah, I'm just basically saying this is the best 1 cycle that I can do. And it was honestly a pretty good run. So we do mana burst here. this is a problem. This is the final mistake because I know I'm going to win, but this is a mistake. You notice that in the action order, I ult here reflexively, but it is incorrect because Sunday is going next and he can E, right? So I should be ulting after Sunday E. But the thing is, Sunday E, I still should have the buffs. So you should still be fine. It's just incorrect play because I should be always Sunday E-ing and then using Saber's ult afterwards. All right, very good though. That is the clear. Very good one cycle clear. All right, so on to the F2P-esque showcase here. We are running Saber, Bronya, Tingyun, and Gallagher on the first half here. So the reason why I'm not doing the second half is because I tried a lot to do it on the second half, but those mobs have a lot of AOE damage, and as you can probably tell, everyone on this team is fairly squishy, even built relatively defensively. So it really is too difficult without a dedicated premium healer. Gallagher is just not able to refund. Even if I use Gallagher's skill every single turn and have his ult up every 2 turns, it still really is not enough because my allies, Bronya and Tingyun, are typically not autoing that much. Tingyun sometimes does, but mostly Bronya is speed tuned in the same way that Sunday is. So Bronya really doesn't ever get like basic attacking. So that being said, Bronya is E6 in this showcase, and this is proof of concept. I'm not going to fully complete it. The enemies here do not have wind weakness, so my damage from Saber is much lower. I just want to show you guys the rotation of how it looks like for F2P if you're doing this comp. So let's go. All right, so in this team, Saber, Bronya, and Tingyun all have passive techniques, which means that we can actually enter the battle with Gallagher. All right, so we're entering with Gallagher here. And here's a little bit of subtle things after I learned them. I do have enough. You guys can see that Saber's energy is quite high, but I've tested it multiple times. I am able to Tingyun ult here, and it will not proc mana burst, which is perfect. So she is literally left with about like 1% left, but she does not proc mana burst here. Then I can give benediction to her, which is very good. And then Gallagher basic attack. We're going to focus fire the right side because we do get energy refunnel when we break down this super armor from this guy. All right, so Saber's gonna go standard here. E into mana burst into Bronya E. So it's a triple action speed tuned comp, very similar to Sunday. There should be no surprises here. And now we can ultimate and then EBA. All right, so ultimate 260k for F2P with no wind resistance, and then we EBA, and we also break the super armor, and Saber gets the energy. Now we're gonna immediately go into Gallagher, get besotted on the enemy so we can start healing a little bit, and then he summons his dudes, which we start EBAing again. So we're just gonna crack down the super armor and get as many ultimates as possible. Gallagher is on S5 quid pro quo, by the way, just for that ultimate energy. And then we go Bronya, and then Saber's here. Okay, so we're really close. We get mana burst off of that, which is perfect. And then I wait here. So the reason why I wait here is because Bronya is just about to come up and I want to wait for that buff. All right, so 11 overflow energy. I'm thinking to myself, by the way, so Tingyun's ultimate will give core resonance, but it'll also refund like 65 energy, which is quite a lot because she's E6, right? So I'm thinking to myself, do I want to do this? And I believe I choose not to. Oh, I do. Okay. I think calculation-wise, I should be at 71 right here. Yeah, there we go. 71 because we get 65 energy. And then now we're going to burst and we get the all the overflow. So I did do this properly. I was calculating. Okay, so 405k is pretty good. That's F2P damage. And then we enhance basic attack. The ads are dead. Tingyun's buff. So this is the thing about Tingyun, by the way, because Saber in a speed 2 comp goes triple action, she is going to use all of the benediction buffs on Tingyun in one turn. So that being said, unless Tingyun is hyper speed, you're basically going to press E on Saber every single time, which is a little bit of a downside in terms of skill points. Because Bronya also wants to use her E to action advance. So hyper speed Tingyun is very good here, and if you have the opportunity, basic attacking here is good. The reason why I did that in the previous run is because the dragon's about to use his attack, and if I do not basic attack and heal her up with the Gallagher ultimate, then she will die. All right, so we're going to focus on healing here. We do have enough skill points to spare. I want Gallagher's ult as soon as possible. We proc that. Bronya's a little bit on the lower side. We're a little bit scared of that. All right, let's basic attack here. I think I still focus the right mob. Focusing the right mob for all the energy is benefiting us quite a lot here. So we have exactly, look at here. So mana burst, we have just under here, then we press E, and now we have the core resonance to mana burst, and then Bronya buffs. And we do have space here because Saber is 37 energy, which means that this will not overflow her. Now she's fully buffed, we can go ahead and ult and EBA. So this is a rotation that you guys are expecting for FTP most of the time. This should be no surprise. Alright, so we E here into an ultimate. And look at how much Ting Yun funnels, by the way. It's quite a lot. So it's about almost 1/4 of her entire bar, which for a 360 energy cost is very high. And you guys can see here, things start to get a little bit sketchy because my team is super squishy and they're constantly funneling points into Saber. Gallagher is really not able to keep up. Like basically the only way that I can do this is if Gallagher is able to ult literally every single turn along with his E, which is just not possible. So this is actually a mistake, by the way. I should be Eing on Bronya here because Bronya is not going to be basic attacking. Ting Yun just applied Benediction on Saber. So if it's her turn next, she will be basic attacking, which will heal her. So this is unfortunately a mistake from me. I should be giving the heal to Bronya. So Bronya is at risk of dying here. I believe we are pushing Core Resonance here, which is quite insane. So now we have another ult ready. We're gonna wait for Bronya. I decided I'm thinking about which one to basic attack, and the right mob is pretty low, and will probably die to Saber's ult. So I'm like, okay, I'll just basic attack the left one. All right, here we go. 304k, and then enhanced basic attack. The right mob should be dead now. Perfect. The blessing procs. This is currently about 2 cycle, and we managed to keep Bronya alive. I would be 1 skill point higher here, so we are a little bit sus on skill points right now. And it is, you always want to E on Saber because it's 54 effective energy. Basic attacking is a big loss. So Bronya, we're gonna basic here. Nothing else I can do. And the blessing procs again. I'm gonna go ahead and basic into ult on Gallagher just to try to speed things up a little bit because I'm wasting a lot of turns here. But yeah, in general, at this point, this is just a rotation. We are not going to clear this run at all. I'm just showing you that the first wave is doable. And with proper rotation, with Bronya and Ting Yun, you can get triple action Saber without much trouble. That being said, I am E6, so I'm getting more skill points because of E1. But overall, I think this comp still should fare very well if the enemies aren't super annoying to deal with. Building beefy is important with this team because Bronya, Ting Yun, and Gallagher can be potentially squishy. My Gallagher is squishier than normal, even with QPQ. And that's just because my relic quality is just not that good. So yeah, Saber's gameplay overall, I think is pretty precise, but I think it's very fun. I think that the way that she plays is very unique, and she's able to make her 360 energy cost look fairly stable, but you do need premium supports. All right, so that is going to wrap up our complete guide and easier showcase for Saber. Overall, I actually quite enjoy her playstyle, and I have tried her out at E6, and she is a monstrous beast with that ult refresh. But overall, I do think that there is a significant power difference between premium team comp and F2P. As you guys saw, the lack of Sunday and the lack of Huohuo makes your rotation and also survivability significantly worse. Running Gallagher, I mean, he's doing his best, man. He's really is trying. He's basically the only reliable E6 sustain character that everyone has been using. And Bronya is good, but the thing is, that team is very squishy. So if you can get past the squishiness, or you can build your teammates a little bit more tanky and allow Gallagher not to have such a hard time, I think it'll be a lot better. But overall, I think that Saber is a very good character. I think that she's very strong. I do think that unfortunately, her being locked to Sunday and Huohuo is a big downside for her. But again, it is a fake character, and if you guys love her, I mean, look at her. Absolutely adorable. And yeah, you guys should go ahead and pick her up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of Saber. I think she has a very cute design. Absolutely love just like the kind of like prim and proper elegance kind of knight outfit that she has here. And her animations are pretty damn solid. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video for HSR or any video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And for those of you who are saving for her over time, good luck, and I hope you guys get her. Thanks for watching, and take care.